Wade in the water, wade in the water, children, wade in the water. God's gonna trouble the water.
Welcome to Black and Caribbean, a South Florida story. I'm Naja Sherman. You are listening to the Viking Freedom Riders from Miami Norland Senior High School. Wade in the Water is an African-American spiritual that conjures up emotions of hope and freedom, but also oppression and survival. The oppression that brought us through the Middle Passage and dropped us all across the Americas. And survival, where ancestors used the waters to navigate toward freedom from enslavement. Then centuries later, crossing waters in hopes of economic freedom. Join us on a journey through the diverse Black and Caribbean cultures that make up South Florida. Their stories and histories weave together like tapestry, vibrant, intricate, and complex, like the flags behind me. CBS News Miami's Larry Seward begins our journey with historian Dr. Marvin Dunn.
Long before planes or trains, pineapples and sea turtles drove waves of people to South Florida shores, creating unique Black history and culture.
They have not merged all that much.
Dr. Marvin Dunn is a former Florida International University professor, historian, and author who published a book on Black migration to Miami.
The first Blacks that we know who came here migrated here came from the Bahamas.
Before slavery ended in 1865, Dr. Dunn says Bahamians came to catch and harvest turtles to sell in Nassau. In the process, some became part of a different underground railroad, sometimes referred to as the Saltwater Railroad, at Cape Florida Light on Key Biscayne.
These Bahamian turtlers, as I call them, would encounter escaped slaves who were coming down trying to get to the Bahamas. And many times they reached Key Biscayne, and what's now the coast of Miami. And these Bahamian fishermen and turtlers would give some of them a lift to the Caribbean.
Years later, turmoil in the Caribbean, leaving less work for farmers, motivated Blacks to move into Florida. Historians say Bahamians first migrated to the Keys, working on pineapple plantations, then settling in Coconut Grove. Migrants from Haiti and Jamaica landed near Miami too. In 1893, a cold spell so bad that palm trees in Palm Beach froze wiped out farms further north. Black farmers moved south. They and Blacks from the Caribbean then shared neighborhoods and doctors at Jackson Memorial Hospital. But Dunn says competition for work divided people.
The view was that Caribbean Blacks were more dependable, were not as difficult to deal with. My dad is an example of the kind of problem that we had. He was a longshoreman working on the docks, had a union car. In come all these Caribbeans, later on Haitian, but others as well. No union car, no, just hanging on the docks looking for work. And the boss man would much rather hire the Bahamians who had no union card, no requirements for minimum wage over the labor of guys that had union cards.
Today, South Florida's Black Caribbean cultures remain distinct and continue to shape Black history unique to these shores. Larry Seward, CBS News, Miami.
Thank you, Larry. As he mentioned, Bahamians were the first Black Caribbean people to migrate to South Florida. Many planted roots in Coconut Grove. I had the honor of sitting down with a woman known as the godmother of Coconut Grove, Miss Thelma Gibson. It was just weeks before she passed away at 99 years old. Here's her story.
When I shared with people in this community that I was doing a story on Bahamian culture and the Bahamian influence on South Florida, it became very clear early on that there is no story without Miss Thelma Gibson.
Well, isn't that nice? Thank you so much. I was born right here in Coconut Grove on December 17, 1926. So I just turned 99 years old.
Miss Thelma Gibson grew up on Charles Avenue before leaving home at just 17 to attend nursing school. During World War II, a nationwide nursing shortage opened doors for women of color, but not without resistance.
The lady looked at me. She said, "You're Thelma Anderson." I said, "In the flesh." And so she said, "Nurse Anderson, I don't think you could work in the operating room."
She was denied the job because of her race, but she refused to quit, continuing to apply, eventually returning to Jackson Hospital and later opening a clinic in Goulds that welcomed patients of color from across South Florida. Her life of service extended beyond medicine. Her husband, Theodore Gibson, was a priest, civil rights leader, and tireless advocate for Coconut Grove's Black community.
Was it love at first sight?
Oh, no. No, indeed. He just got more involved. And of course, I was involved. So that's how I ended up getting married to him.
Miss Gibson retired from nursing in 1980, but her service never stopped. In 1984, she founded the Miami-Dade Women's Chamber of Commerce, intentionally inclusive from the start.
And it was not going to be just Black women. It was going to be Black and white and Hispanic. And that's how we started.
Integrated.
Yes.
She welcomed all of us from different islands, different countries, different looks. It didn't matter what color you were or where you were from. She embraced you.
That spirit of inclusion still defines her legacy.
This is a part of my life story. I didn't know that I'd live long enough to have this interview because yesterday I couldn't get out of bed. But today I was able to get up, and I thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
As we celebrate 100 years of Black history, at 99 years old, Miss Thelma Gibson was a shining example of someone who shaped communities and changed lives. For more on the story of how Bahamians helped shape South Florida, we went to a Coconut Grove landmark that's 135 years old. It belonged to a pioneer of the community. Born in the Bahamas in 1851, Mariah Brown is known as one of the first Bahamians to arrive in Coconut Grove. She purchased a piece of land from a pioneer for $50 and constructed her home. Brown is thought to be one of Coconut Grove's first Black homeowners. I met Bahamian community leader Shannon Igodero at the Mariah Brown House to talk about the Bahamian cultural influence on South Florida.
And as we know, Coconut Grove is significant to the Bahamian influence on all of South Florida and even beyond. Bahamians had an impact in shaping South Florida from the 1880s. So they came from the Bahamas as laborers. They came as contract workers. And out of that came communities, out of that came families, out of that came cultural and spirit pride. And you see that being shaped in Junkanoo. You see the Bahamian influence being shaped in the food and in the culinary. You see it being shaped in architecture, but I think more importantly, in leadership.
As we celebrate this Black History Month, why is it important that we also recognize the Bahamian contribution?
There would be no South Florida, really, without the contributions of Bahamians. In order to move forward, you should never forget your history. History becomes a part of not just our personal stories, but it becomes a roadmap for the next generation.
The Mariah Brown House was designated a historical site by the city of Miami in 1995. Bahamians certainly weren't the last Black immigrant group to plant roots in South Florida and infuse our community with their rich culture.
Naja, exactly. Broward County is home to the largest Jamaican population in the state. Their contributions are felt all across South Florida in the food, the music, and even public office.
Chelsea, we can't forget about Haitians. I'm Tanya Francois in Little Haiti, and I'll share stories of resiliency from Haitians comparing migrations and their reception as they now call South Florida home.
The many islands act together, one nation connected by tradition. Festivals and parades, we bump to rake and scrape, swinging in the Caribbean breeze, kids singing, people dancing, doors open, mouths fed. We live how the water lives, together, in harmony as the Junkanoo's drums roar, pushing out rhymes into the street as our feet hit the floor. Junkanoo connects our community. It's the way of the water.
Black and Caribbean, a South Florida story, sponsored by Care Plus Health Plans.
CBS Mornings. CBS Mornings on CBS and where else? Paramount Plus. See you at 7. CBS Mornings.
Blue skies, sunshine, and great people like you. It's no wonder so many flourish in the Sunshine State. At CarePlus, we've helped Floridians find Medicare Advantage plans for over 25 years. If you're new to Medicare, CarePlus is here to help you enjoy the Floridian lifestyle. All CarePlus plans include benefits like dental, vision, hearing coverage, even a fitness program, coverage for specialist visits and hospital stays too. And CarePlus has a plan that gives you money back on your Part B premium. We also have a plan with no referrals required for in-network specialists. And plans that give you a spending card with an allowance for eligible OTC products. At CarePlus, we're here to help you feel your best, so you can flourish in Florida, doing what you love. Call a licensed CarePlus sales agent today.
What was that?
My bad.
You wouldn't have a clown on your SWAT team, just like you wouldn't have anyone but Morgan & Morgan handle your injury case.
We'll get them next time.
Morgan & Morgan.
Love your family. Love your home. Love your windows. From Florida Window and Door. It's easy to love your new Cat 5 windows. Pay nothing until 2027 and get free installation. Wow! No payments for a year. And receive a vacation voucher with purchase. Upgrade your home and better protection for your family. Call me today at 8665-SHELLY for a free quote. That's 8665-SHELLY or visit callshelly.com.
Thank you for making Acura of Pembroke Pines #1 in the USA.
Your reporters. They're South Florida's truth seekers.
15 months, man.
Your prize fighter for fairness. Advocates for good. And allies for change.
She heard 7 shots.
Your reporters. They're your local ambassadors, connected to your community. And always getting you the full story. Get to know your reporter. Only on CBS News Miami.
Transverse ever sow that forbidden fruit, freedom for our people, for our inherent youth. We rise to salvation, deliverance, the truth. We wade in the water till there's nothing left to do. Now we rise ever the ready, that island kingdom, freedom for the people. This is Jamaica.
Welcome back to Black and Caribbean, a South Florida story. Our migration journey continues from the shores of Jamaica to Broward County. Broward is home to the second largest Jamaican population in the United States. From Sunrise to Miramar, the culture, the music, the food, and the traditions are part of everyday life. CBS News Miami's Chelsea Jones shows us how Jamaica's influence shapes South Florida.
For many, Jamaican heritage isn't just celebrated, it's lived every single day. It's served on a plate, felt in the culture, and heard through music. It's captured in the film Bob Marley, One Love. These are the men of Inner Circle, also known as the Bad Boys of Reggae, Ian and Roger Lewis.
And you guys have a very popular song, which I want to talk about a little bit, the Bad Boys. You're laughing, but I want to know about it. What went into that?
When we made that song, it was not even designed. It was just a song in the catalog.
That song would become synonymous with the TV show Cops, the Miami-based Bad Boys movies, and most recently, a TikTok challenge.
We have a saying in Jamaica, our unofficial motto is that we little but we talawa. And so we, even though we may be small in size, we are strong and resilient.
According to data from the U.S. Census, Florida is home to the second largest population of Jamaicans in the country, with more than 312,000. Broward County has the largest concentration of Jamaicans, with over 117,000.
Just our elected officials alone in South Florida alone, we have over 28 elected officials.
For generations, Jamaicans came to America in search of opportunity. Today, the man at the helm of Miramar is proof of what's possible.
My family just always, instilled in us that we could become whoever we chose to be and was willing to work for in this country.
Hurricane Melissa, a Category 5 storm, changed life on the island nation. Here in South Florida, the impact was immediate. Today, the country continues to rebound.
There are sections of the island that were severely damaged, and there's a program now where we're restoring, rebuilding homes and roofs and helping businesses to get restarted.
For Consul General Oliver Mayer, it's a tribute to the unyielding spirit of the Jamaican people.
That's our message to the world, and one love, of course. Love is the most powerful force in the human race, and so we offer Jamaican one love to the entire world.
In Miramar, Chelsea Jones, CBS News, Miami.
Chelsea, resilience is a theme we see echoed in the Caribbean. You could argue that no one knows that better than Haitians. CBS News Miami's Tanya Francois, a proud Haitian American, brings us the struggles and triumphs of Haitians who built a life here and those who are still fighting for their place.
Her name is Louisa. I affectionately call her Mom. I wanted to interview someone who immigrated from Haiti in the early 70s. The answer came in someone I've known my entire life.
My mother had a job offer because she was a big chef at a big hotel, famous hotel.
That is how my family ended up in America. My grandmother accepting a job offer, bringing my mom, a teenager, in October of 1971, and immediately enrolled her at Miami-Jackson Senior High. Were there other Haitians in school with you?
The first year it was less than 10 Haitian speaking, Haitian Creole.
South Florida's Haitian population rapidly grew in 1972 and 73 during the Haitian refugee boat crisis. It was soon after my mom became an American citizen to make traveling easier. She says it was nowhere near as difficult as it is now.
There was no such thing as TPS. It's a totally different ballgame. TPS, temporary, no. There was no such thing.
I came in 94, the era when it wasn't cool to be Haitian. And I remember my introduction to South Florida was being on the school bus and watching students get beat up, jumped, and mocked.
Decades later, Wenda Tima's migration experience is very different. Tima runs the popular social media sites La Union Suite and The Haitian American. With thousands of followers, she has a finger on the pulse of Haitians in America.
We're proud of the fabric of who we are. As Haitians, we're proud of our history, and we want people to know us deeper than our struggles.
Both women say they love America and being Americans. Still, they'd also like to one day go back home to Haiti.
No matter what our hyphens are or whatever, we're Haitian first, and we love our country.
You a citizen here, I would like to be free and do whatever I want to do whenever I want to do.
What's stopping you?
You. You. Because otherwise I would have been over there already.
All efforts for Haitians to become U.S. citizens have been paused by the Trump administration, and the fate of the temporary protected status for Haitians is being fought in the courts. In Little Haiti, Tanya Francois, CBS News, Miami.
We've looked at the largest Caribbean cultures here in South Florida, but how do they identify? African American, Afro-Caribbean, or solely on their country of lineage? CBS News Miami's Jim Berry explores that next.
As the cooking process tells patience, griot seasoned with time and love, the flavors learned before the language, delicious food passed through plates, a remembrance of our land, a taste that will always stay, one that's forever in our hearts.
Black and Caribbean, a South Florida story, sponsored by Care Plus Health Plans.
Hi there, I'm Lauren Pastrana.
And I'm Tony DeCopel.
Join us for CBS News Miami weeknights starting at 5.
And then catch me on the CBS Evening News on CBS Miami every weeknight, 6:30.
New to Medicare? Care Plus Medicare Advantage plans have helped Floridians flourish for over 25 years. All plans include dental, vision, hearing coverage, and more. There's a Care Plus plan that gives you money back on your Part B premium, and a plan with no referrals required for in-network specialists. At Care Plus, we're here to help you feel your best, so you can flourish in Florida, doing what you love. Call a licensed Care Plus sales agent today.
I'm John Morgan of Morgan & Morgan. If you've been injured in a car accident, call America's largest injury law firm. For over 35 years, my mission has been to deliver more for our clients, to deliver more for you. Morgan & Morgan, for the people.
What's going on, fans? Family, it's Mike Compton. I never knew what it's like to be a season ticket holder.
I love coming for all the different events they have here.
How about this letter today?
We're going to do some shopping. A membership discount today. We meet Jay right at the front door.
Nice to meet you.
These are our seats over here. Great people are always around us. We're ready to enter the membership lounge.
Yeah, they got the whole setup.
See what kind of food is here. Let's go!
That's what it's all about.
At FPL, our teams are working every day, inspecting, upgrading, and strengthening the grid, installing smart sensors that spot problems before they become outages, keeping your lights on, your devices charged, your world running. You may not see us, but our work never stops. Behind every switch that powers on, every screen you tap, every moment that just works. Because reliability isn't an option, it's a commitment. FPL, working for you every single day.
Can't break me, you can't stop the fall.
Watch Start TV on Broadcast Channel 4.2 and on these providers.
When you buy fresh from Florida produce, it's also fresh from the Aston family, from Herman, Sam, Elizabeth and Jason, and fresh from the Allen family. Look for local fresh from Florida produce where you shop. Trust is grown here.
We're the Morgan Boys. I'm Matt. I'm Mike. And I'm Dan. We became injury attorneys just like our parents. Our family has been fighting for families like yours for over 35 years. So if you're injured, call Morgan & Morgan. For the people. For the families.
During Black History Month, we are reminded that South Florida is a cultural melting pot whose roots within the Black community spread throughout the Caribbean. But here's the question. Do those cultures embrace African American history, and have those cultures felt embraced by South Florida's African American community? With us to delve into this very layered topic is an esteemed panel. Bacardi Jackson is the executive director of the ACLU here in the state of Florida. Marlon Hill, born in Jamaica, has become one of South Florida's most prominent attorneys. And Tanya Francois, a Haitian American, is CBS Miami's executive producer impacting communities. Thank you all for joining us to talk about this. So, Marlon, let me start with you, because Black History Month is largely considered a celebration of African American history. So I'm wondering if people who have Caribbean descent feel as connected to that cause.
Well, people of Caribbean descent are African Americans. We wouldn't have the city of Miami without Black votes from the Bahamas. So we've been layered and interconnected for generations since post-emancipation. So that question to me is long gone, the ship has sailed.
Well, it's interesting you say that, because Tanya, we had a discussion and it's really triggered this whole issue in my mind about you growing up here as a young Haitian American in South Florida, but you felt a bit ostracized by the African American community here. So how did that experience impact how you felt about Black Americans?
So I didn't feel ostracized. I was ostracized, absolutely. We were talked about smell, hair, growing up, that we were poor, that we were from a poor country, which was a complete contradiction to when I actually went and spent my summers in Haiti. I saw the complete opposite. So for me, I was in Miami though. I am Miami. I was born here in America, so I am African American, I am Black, but I am also Haitian. So all of that makes who I am.
So Bacardi, because of that dynamic, and certainly she's not the first person I've heard say that, is there a disconnect that we should be addressing?
You know, for me growing up, and I grew up in Memphis, so I didn't grow up in South Florida, but my children have grown up here in South Florida, and I can tell you that they are very much infused within Caribbean culture and community, and in fact, both my children's godmothers are both Jamaican, and so it is certainly not something that I have witnessed or experienced myself, and growing up in Memphis, things were pretty much black and white. There was not the nuance of the different cultures, and people kind of just divided along those lines. And also too, as a daughter of civil rights activists and, someone who is very much steeped in Black history, one of the things that I'm, thinking about, there were certainly so many influences in the civil rights movement. I think of Harry Belafonte and people like that who, Caribbean descent.
Stokely Carmichael.
Yeah, absolutely. So there's so many people who have all made this movement in this country and share this common, character of resistance and self-reliance and self-determination.
Marlon, here in South Florida, since you brought it up, Bacardi, we have this melting pot. Sometimes I wonder if we're a melting pot or if we're a quilt. And because of that, I wonder if we are really taking advantage of the melting pot that we have at our disposal, or if we are kind of missing the boat a little bit. What do you think?
I don't think we're really missing the boat. You got to pay attention to the food that people are eating, the music that we're listening to, how we're socializing. These nuances are cultural nuances. The Caribbean has been a long-standing connection with American history. You have the Gullah culture in the Carolinas. They're connected to Barbados. Louisiana is connected to Haiti.
Tanya, how did you come to grips with this dichotomy that you were faced? Haitian culture, obviously very important to you, but you're here in South Florida as an African American. How did you come to grips with it?
Well, I attended an HBCU. I attended Bethune-Cookman University. I'm a member of a black sorority. So I embrace it through lived life. I live here. When I am outside of my mother's home, I am a black woman. I am an African American woman. The outside doesn't see the Haitian part of me. They certainly don't hear it, right? But when you hear my name, some curiosity comes up. So when all of us walk down the street together as a quilt or a pot, we are looked upon as one.
There's black history in Cuba. There's black history in Venezuela. There's black history in my wife's family from Trinidad. And so we need to have more empathy and compassion for the lived black experience.
Yeah, and I guess layered with that is more education, so that our children do understand that there's a link between us all.
Yeah.
Thank you all for participating in this very important discussion, Marlon, Bacardi, and Tanya.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jim. I hope you enjoyed this journey, exploring the diversity and complexity and the Black and Caribbean cultures that make up South Florida. I'm Naja Sherman. Thank you for joining us.
They say our bodies are made up of 95% water. Perhaps that is why we use it to live, need it to survive, why we waited in the water waiting for freedom to come. Water is what connects my people. It's the way of the water.
Our island homes, never forgotten, rooted by the deep sea.
Waves in the water.
History calls us back to who we are.
Waves in the water.
The battle our people fought.
Prayers float like boats. There's a foundation built from tides and resistance. Mountains rise when rain meets the sea. Rivers remember the names spoken here.
A culture unbroken.
One that will never disappear.
C'est chemin gloire.
It's the way of the water.
Wade in the water. Wade in the water, children. Wade in the water. God's gonna trouble the water.
Black and Caribbean, a South Florida story. Sponsored by Care Plus Health Plan.